Okay, so hello, everyone. Welcome to my shamanic workshop today. Today we are doing a workshop over our chakras. We're going to be learning about wealth and abundance blockages that you can actually feel and take a journey to either heal, receive messages, or actually unblock the chakras. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll tell you what you need to do in the physical world to actually unblock your chakra, or to get that chakra to basically work in your favor. So we're calling them blockages, but let me give a little bit of an explanation of what I mean here. So all of our chakras, in case you don't know, there are energy centers that are actually attached to our energy body. They affect different parts of the physical world, but both our physical bodies. So like different organs and different glands in our bodies, as well as projecting outward into the world. So things happening in your bank account could be something that is actually a reflection of how your chakras are doing, or even interactions and fights you might be having with your spouse, or how you feel about your job. All of those things are also reflected in your chakras. So our chakras actually hold not only energy, like the prana and all of the different types of energy that it absorbs throughout the world. So especially as empaths, which a lot of us are empathic, highly sensitive, and what I like to call gifted helpers. And that means we're always consistently drawing in energy from a world around us, from other people and their moods, from our pets, from our plants, from the world around us. Like for me, I've been really moody because it's the holidays and the whole world out there is moody. So like out of nowhere, I'll be like, I spent too much money today. And I'm like, that's not even your thought, Siobhan. Where did that come from? And so I'm like, oh, that's some schmuck or somebody, a poor guy is out there in the parking lot right now, probably thinking that. And I just caught wind of it. So, but things like that also can get trapped in our chakras. Our chakras, chakra is Sanskrit for spinning wheel. And so that's what they look like. Our chakras are these projections, back and front, that the front of them, when you look at them head on, look like spinning wheels. And for me, when I intuitively go and look into chakras, they look like all sorts of things. Sometimes I actually see the wheel, but sometimes they'll show me metaphors. So your crown chakra could look like a traffic jam if you've been doing like a lot of like heady work, been in your head, not going, not bringing yourself consciously into the rest of your body, and you're just thinking, it's clogging up your crown chakra. It'll show me like a traffic jam sometimes, but like in your halo. So we want them to spin the way that they're supposed to. We want them to do nice turns. We want them to also connect with each other so that the flow goes up and down through our bodies. When one of them is slow down or sluggish or rotating the wrong direction, anything like that, that's what we call a blockage, because you want that energy to flow up and down, like I just said, from crown, which is receiving from the heavens, the celestial part of your body that goes all the way through your body, and then grounding yourself through your roots, which goes down into the Mother Earth. We want energy to flow through you, kind of like the picture you've seen where the branches reach up and then the roots, they go down into the ground, and it makes like this perfectly symmetrical vision. That's us. We're all basically trees. So you want your branches to be reaching up and pulling in all that energy and connecting with the divine, and you want your roots to be nice and grounded in, and you want the energy in between to be able to flow up and down. If it's stuck and jittery, or here we go, or sluggish in any one of your chakras, then we would call that a blockage. So today we're going to be talking about specifically about the flow of wealth and abundance. And so for some of you guys are in my money wound healing meetup group, we talked a little bit about wealth and abundance for each of us. So I'm just going to talk just briefly about that so you guys understand what I mean. Your wealth and abundance is going to be different than the person next to you. Our wealth and abundance story is what I'm calling that. Our wealth and abundance story is, what does that feel like for you? When you think about being at your highest, most sparkliest potential state in wealth and abundance, somebody might think of a private jet, and you might think of a farm, or you might think of peace and just quiet and being able to have that time to yourself. So whatever it is that is wealth and abundance for you is what we're going to work on today. So one of the triggers that we might have that'll that will collect negative energy in our chakras and block us for wealth and abundance is not knowing our own money story, our own wealth story. So I urge you, so for some of us, we did that as our homework from the money wound healing group. So if you have that with you, then go ahead, and we're going to just put some energy towards that. We're going to ask our guides to just kind of charge that up a little bit for us. But if you do this even after the workshop, this energy will go retrospectively. It'll go into the future, into the one that you're going to write in the future. If you haven't written yours yet, don't worry about it. But I urge you to think about that, because if you're scrolling through the internet and you see somebody just bought some like fancy car, right? Someone standing outside their Maserati, and you go like, ew, you know, like what are the point of expensive cars? They make no sense to me. I'm one of those people. To me, you know, a lot of metal and wheels are metal and wheels. Like that's how I am. So if I picture that to be synonymous with wealth, then I would block that for myself. I would block that. I don't want to be that kind of person. A great example is, you know, people who like to have like a whole living room that no one's allowed to touch. I grew up with those kinds of grandmas and aunties and stuff, that you go to their house and there's all this gorgeous furniture and vases and plastic on things and things behind this beautiful china cabinet and crystal, and they only bring it out just to dust the dust off of it, and they put it back, and no one ever touches any of that stuff. When I was a kid, I used to just be like, gag. It was it was just not my thing. And when I was a kid, I decided I was never going to be that kind of person, but I associated that with money. So that was I think maybe she's having a connection issue here. So that was what I tied to wealth. And because I denounced that kind of story from myself, I also was denouncing wealth inadvertently. So that's why it's important to sit down and think about what your wealth story is, so that you don't make it what you see on the internet. You don't make it that cookie cutter from all of society, what society says wealth is. You decide what it is for you. And that's the first step to unblocking your chakras, because your chakras now know what we're working with. Okay, we're not in resistance anymore, because you're not asking me, Siobhan, to buy a bunch of towels that no one's allowed to touch, you know, that are only going to hang in the bathroom, and then I'm going to yell at you for using them to dry your hands. It's just not the person I am. And that's perfectly fine if that's who you are. But I'm just that kind of person. Like, why would I buy towels if we're not allowed to use them? My husband, he's that kind of guy. And he's like, because they're just for show. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. So, okay. So that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about while we were bringing everybody in. And so you can do that, even if you just take a moment to picture some things right now or after the workshop. I urge you to sit down and write it all out and include lots of feeling in it, because that's the way that we put more intention, give it more power, because your emotions actually talk to the universe better than your words do, because the universe speaks in energy. So when you get excited about something, that's like one of the tippy top energies that you can have to create the world around you. But gratitude, that's another really, really good feeling. So you want to bring up things that invoke a feeling in you that feel positive. So when you think about your wealth story and you're imagining what that feels like, it might just feel like for you sitting on the couch and realizing, I don't have any bills to pay right now. They're all paid. All of the groceries are in the refrigerator. All of the kids are fed. Everything's done. And I just have a moment to myself. Write that out. Write what that feeling feels like in that moment, because that could be part of your wealth story. Okay. And so we're going to send energy to that when we do our journeys in a little while. But I just wanted to talk about that, so you know what I'm talking about when I bring that up here and there throughout the workshop. It's our wealth story. Now, opposite of our wealth story are the things that I was talking about a second ago that might be triggering for you. So for a lot of us, empaths, highly sensitive, gifted helpers, we have an aversion to receiving, to different types of receiving, especially when it comes to the word money. Money is like a trigger word. So I'm going to read a couple of sentences that might sound like triggering to you, and you guys think of some more that you know exist for you. So these would be words that when you hear them, they make you tense up in some kind of way. They make you go ill some kind of way. They stop you dead in your tracks. these are the things that would stop you from being able to manifest. Some people can say these as mantras and affirmations and they wouldn't bother them at all. But if anything inside of you feels weird about it, I want you to take note of that. Okay. So the first one is, it's very simple. I love money. Say that to yourself, and how does that feel? The next one is, I am extremely rich. Okay. Next one is, my business is extremely successful. Next one, money makes me happy. Next one, wealth is important. Next two are a little bit different. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. Focus on the word selfish when you say that to yourself. And next, the last one is, the world will go on if I take time for myself. Okay. Can you guys think of some more? If you want to, go ahead and put them in the chat or speak them out loud. It's up to you, that you can think of. But did anyone get a reaction from any of the ones that I just said? So, raise of hands if you did. Coach Brianna, which one was that for you?
The I am extremely rich and my business is extremely successful.
Yeah. Where did you feel, what did it feel like to you when you tried to say that? What did it feel like to you?
It's just like my brain immediately is like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Okay. I'm not.
So
no, I'm not. Right. And it just can't, like, yeah.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yours came in a resistance in like words. Your words came through for you, and it was like, it was denouncing the truth of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Coach Julie?
Same as Coach Brianna. Everything else was fine. It said, when I said I am extremely rich, I was like, same thing, like, no, you're not. And then I heard my mind say, not yet. But even when I heard my mind say, not yet, I don't know if I believe it. And then when you said, in my business, what did you say? What was the exact word you used? My business is
successful.
Yeah. And so it was the same thing. It's like, I said, my business is extremely successful. And I'm like, no, it's not, because it's so new. Like, I'm not there yet. So it's not yet. That not yet felt a little bit more believable, but I am extremely rich. That one just, I was like, yeah, no.
Right.
Not yet, but I'm like, I don't know if I totally believe it.
Right. Thank you. Yes, exactly. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about that and what corresponding chakra that would be. Let me get, anyone else have any of these triggers like them that you can explain, that you can share with us?
Same thing for me. As
the same
Brianna,
words?
The same words. And then also, it's okay to be selfish sometimes.
What did you feel for that one? Yeah. Tell me that one.
It was like, I know I want to share, with everybody. If I want to give something, even if it's just time, not being able to set those boundaries where it's like, okay, take time for you, do what you need to do for yourself. It's like, no, somebody's going to always be included in that.
Right. Yes. Which is a big one if you're a mom too, right? Moms, like, we have that a lot, right? We have that consistently, like, can't even go to the bathroom by yourself kind of feeling. Like, it's like,
but it's like a sense of guilt too, at the same time, like, you're enjoying things. And then it's like, okay, well, they could be here with me too. I'm enjoying something, a nice meal by myself or with my friends. And it's like, I need to take them something too. Or, just
big one.
That.
Bring them something back home, or, let's stop on the way home. Let me stop in the store real quick. Let me buy my baby something and bring them back something too. Yeah. Right. I know exactly what you mean. Thank you for sharing. These are great. Anyone else? Even if you have your own, that you want to share that, like, Gwen, you're off mute.
Yeah, mine was the selfish one. I think just because taking care of everybody for so long, and even though now it's, basically just me and my husband, I still get that, like Brandy said, that guilt feeling. It's like I still have to take care of him, even though I don't have to. I get that.
Of course, right.
So used to it. It's just, and then when I do have that time to myself, I'm like, what do I do?
Because you're not used to having that selfish time for yourself, right? To do that. And we can read it. We can read about it online. We can scroll. We can be a part of like empath recovery groups and stuff. And we know when we see the words that it's true. Like taking time for me is important. Taking, it is okay to be selfish. But when we try to apply that to ourselves and say the sentence like we belong, like it belongs to us, and we try to own it, then that's a different feeling, right? And it's like, well, being selfish might be okay for my client. I'll give my client that advice. I'll give my friend or my sister that advice, but not for myself, right? And so that's where, and so these were great examples. So I wanted you guys to feel that, because you could do this little exercise at any time. Whenever you come across something you're trying to do that's new, whenever you're trying to write out your manifestations, your intentions, or your mantras for the day, paying attention to these little feelings is really important. And then you can do what we're going to do next, and you can take a quick journey about it. But let's talk about it. So our throat chakra is our truth center. It's literally what it is. It's purification. It purifies information to make it true for us. And that's something that we are very connected to, as a lot of empaths are like indigos, and they're like warriors for justice and warriors for truth, right? We can't say something that feels untrue to us. We have to smooth it over and make it true. Yet, like Coach Julie said, I'm not there yet. And even then, it's like, I'm not sure if I believe that all the way either, but I'm trying to do my best to make it true, because it doesn't feel like truth for me. That's throat chakra. So when you have a resistance to something that you hear that you're trying to integrate in your life and make it true for you, and the voices in your head start pushing against that because it doesn't feel true, that's probably going to be a throat chakra issue. That's bumping against your truth center. And you can now do workshopping on your truth center, on your throat chakra. And that's one of those things where you could also tweak the words, because words work with throat chakra. So just changing the words around might make it easier for you. So instead of I am extremely rich, you could say I am calling in the perfect abundance for me. And that would now change the wording to where it would make sense to you and your truth center now. Now you're not saying a lie, you're calling it in. So you're saying it's not necessarily here yet, but I'm constantly calling it in. It's going to keep growing, and it's perfect for me. Maybe I'm not going to be rich. Maybe I'm going to be up to this level. Maybe I will be rich. Whatever it is, I'm now making it a little easier for me and making it a little lighter to receive it. So that's something you can do to work with throat chakra. But like I said, we're also going to take a journey to have our guides and our chakras tell us which ones in specific are most blocked for wealth and abundance, and what do we need at this moment to open that up. So we're all going to have that opened up for us today. The one about the selfish, what I heard from Brandy was I want to share, but I want to share. If I have it, I want to share. That's heart. That's that heart connection where I want everyone to be all this oneness, all this connection with everybody. I was taught that giving with a giver's heart was the right thing to do. I'm not supposed to put away my giver's heart. That's what they taught us growing up. You're supposed to share. Sharing is caring, right? Those kinds of words. That caring feeling comes from your heart chakra. So heart is telling Brandy, no, we can't be selfish. We're not allowed to do that, because that wouldn't be in alignment with what we were taught with heart. So the way that you could maybe change that mantra if you were working with heart would be to say, it is good for me to fill my emotional cup so that I can fill the cup of others. So you're telling your heart there, I'm taking this time for me now. I'm being selfish for me because I'm gonna use that to give back to others. That's the way to do an even exchange. It is right. It is right to have balance. That's another way you can say that, right? And that way you're talking to your heart and you're telling your heart that it's okay. Solar plexus is the guilt feeling. They work in tandem with each other. So that other feeling we were talking about with that guilt and that feeling, it feels kind of like a punch in the gut when you're like out trying to do something by yourself. oh, but I didn't bring anything for the kids, and oh, I'm really enjoying myself, but I can't fully enjoy myself because all my family isn't here, or there's people suffering in other countries right now, and here I am having this giant feast, like all of those feelings that hit you, where Brandy said, where it's hard to set a boundary. Boundaries are in your solar plexus. So those are that gut feelings. So if you're reading any of these and it feels like a sick feeling to your stomach, or a guilt feeling, or it feels like I can't set that boundary yet, that's your power empowerment center. That's what your solar plexus is called. It's called your empowerment center. So you need to feel empowered enough to set the boundary. Again, similar to the heart, you would tell your solar plexus you're doing it for balance. I set these boundaries because then I'm being a good example for others, so they know they can set boundaries with me, right? So I'm going to be selfish sometimes as a good example to the daughters and the sons out there that need to learn that it's okay to be selfish for them too. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to push past that yucky feeling, and I'm telling my solar plexus that it's okay because I'm adding to the balance of the universe. And that's just an example. These would be some things that would work for those particular ones if you're workshopping just those particular ones. But we're going to find out now in Journey what your specific chakras are that need to be worked on. And then, right, so before I do that, I'm going to make sure if anybody has any other questions about what I've just shared. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how to take Shamanic Journey for those of you who have never taken one, so that we can just kind of get a little bit of the basics so that we know what we're about to do. But first, does anyone have questions over chakras and how to workshop chakras? Or if you had a sentence, a triggering sentence that you wanted to share with us, that you wanted us to kind of workshop a little bit while you're here with us all? I gotta scroll because
I don't have like perfect words for it, but I think a big one for me is always around worthiness to receive, like the like what I have to sell is worth people paying for, kind of things, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, close your eyes really quick. Everybody else can do this as well. Take a deep breath. Send all of your energy. Feel it like coming in the top of your head, and then when you breathe out, you're sending it down to the bottom of your tailbone. Another one. Push that breath down. All right. So now we're waking up our energetic body. We're engaging it. We're talking to our chakras. Think about the word worthiness. I am worthy. My gifts are worthy to be seen. My products are worthy to be sold for profit. What I have is worthy enough for people to come to me and pay for them. Okay? Where do you feel that in your body, and what does it feel like? Coach Brianna, what are you feeling right now?
I feel like turning around and not facing it. That is really what it's like. Just don't even look at that. I don't know.
Does it feel like you're turning away from it because you feel fearful, or does it feel disgusting, or does it make you want to cry? What is the feeling you're turning away from?
The making me want to cry, maybe the fearful a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I feel it for you as well. I'm feeling in your heart and in your solar plexus. Again, they're working together. It's the two of them. So I'm feeling a lot of fear and a lot of that self-worth work. Yourself, building up yourself, building up who you are overall in general. So on the surface, the word worthy would tell you empowerment, right? Solar plexus. But doing a little exercise and feeling. So for me, I felt that between my two shoulder blades, which is still my heart chakra, but it's the back of my heart chakra. I felt a lot of tension and funny, like itchy, weird feeling, like clothes that are too tight, that don't fit me. Ugh, like get that off of me. That's where that felt. And that's letting me know that that's in my heart somewhere. In my heart, I don't feel worthy. And that's that feeling of when I really sit with the word worthy, it starts to bring up tears. I want to cry. That's all in my emotions. Emotions are in our sacral as well, but more than likely, when you think about a word and it feels triggering and immediately wants to bring up tears, a lot of the time that's in your heart. That's a grieving feeling. I'm grieving the fact that I really actually don't feel worthy. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So that would be somewhere I would start. I would go in there and I would journal that, or I would workshop that. I would ask my guides to come in and I'd start writing and I would talk directly to my heart chakra and say, hey, why don't I feel worthy? Start from, okay, when I feel worthy, I don't want to look at it. Why don't I want to look at it? And then just let the answers come to you and answer that. And then go from there, then go another layer deeper and then another layer deeper. Or like we're going to do today, we can go straight into journey and say, I'd like to take it. So with journey, what you're going to find out in a second, we like to have an intention. So I would set the intention. I'd like to take a journey to speak with a guide that can tell me why I have resistance to worthiness, or what is it that I don't want to face about worthiness. And then they'll take you on a journey about it overall. If you want to specifically speak to your heart chakra, you'd say, I want to take a heart chakra journey to find out why I feel stuck around worthiness. Okay. And then in your solar plexus, that's overall work for you. So that's just telling you to start. I like to call it a little journey. So we start with the little girl. And so that's our inner child. And we work with her. That's where we go first thing. When we go into our solar plexus, we want to go check on the little girl. Where is she at? Because she's going to start as a little girl first, and we're going to have to work with her. Then she's going to grow up a little bit, and she's going to realize that she has a little bit of power in some things. Her power of choice, her free will. They now are something she recognizes can take her somewhere. She can go and she can ride that power of choice into many directions, and it's up to her. It's not an adult any longer telling her you have to do this and you have to do that. It's now she is the adult in her life, but she might just be a little bit older, recognizing, oh, I make the decisions. Okay. So now where do you go with those decisions? You go into some self-esteem work. Now that I make those decisions, what else am I responsible for? What else is up to me? Oh, how I feel about me is up to me. It's not up to someone else to tell me, you didn't do this today, so you don't get this reward. You're not worthy of this. You need to go back in the room and do better. It's up to me to decide, you know what? So I didn't make my bed today. I can still go to the movies if I want because I'm the adult and I can tell myself what I did today was good enough. Right? So that's that working on how you see yourself. And once you get to that place where you're now in that bubble of I'm good enough, I did enough today, then you want to protect that with some boundaries. Now that I feel that I'm in that place where I did some work on me and I feel like I'm precious and important, even when I don't do everything the way I thought I should, even when I don't check mark every single thing on my to-do list, now I'm going to protect that fiercely. I'm going to be that mama bear for myself. And I'm going to say boundaries. No, you're not going to trigger her and make her feel bad again. You're not going to send her back into her past. Even if you're talking to yourself and those voices in your head, even if you're telling the what do I like to call them? Like they're like the oppressors, but they're like little mini versions of them in our head. Right. So if we had someone in our mind telling us constantly, in our life, outside of us we're a little, they're bigger than us. We think that they're telling us the truth because they're the adults. They're constantly telling us, but you didn't do this, but you did. Oh, look at you floating around here like you're the princess of the world. Did you do this yet? Did you do that yet? Well, then no, you're not the princess. Go back and go sit down. Go try again. You didn't do enough, right? You should have known better. So then we take that as an adult, we take a version of that and put it right in our head. So when we set boundaries, we not only need to set boundaries with the outside world, but we need to set boundaries with that voice too. I'm not going to beat up on myself. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to keep those same words going. I'm going to end that cycle. But that comes after you go through all of the cycles because you have to know who you're protecting. You got to work with that little girl first. And you got to know why. Why is it so important for me to be able to set that boundary up? So that's what I like to call my journey through solar plexus. It's this whole journey, and it's the journey to self. It's journey to empowerment, because that's our empowerment center. So wherever you are, take my time to kind of journal about it, or even take a journey and ask yourself if you just want to work on that one day, and just ask yourself, where am I? Where is she at? Where is she at on her journey? Am I all the way at the beginning of inner child work, or is she a little bit older where she kind of realized she does have some power, but she's still kind of letting the voices beat up on her? Where is she at? I'm feeling like she's probably there. She's probably at the place where she's got some power, and she knows she can set things in motion, like what you shared with us, that you're able to manifest all kinds of things. You get winnings, you get free trials, you get a whole free year of something. You were sharing that in the money wound healing. So she's at that place now where she's like, hey, I can affect the world around me. I'm not just a victim, and I'm not just this little child that has to wait for the adults to make the decisions, right?
Yeah.
Now she needs to know, Why is she worthy to make the right decisions for her? Why? Because she needs to do that self work now. She needs to get up to that place. So consider yourself like a teenager. Now the teenager you needs to decide, I'm doing my best, Mom, gosh. You need to have one of those kind of moments, and let her have that. Let her realize that, like, you know what? And we haven't done our soul retrieval either. So sorry for get off on a tangent, but we'll probably do more of this work when we do our soul retrieval on the 21st, because we have your soul retrieval on 21st. So, yeah, we're probably preparing to bring her back. She's probably like, oh, you guys are talking me up. I'm about to come back. I'm about to wreck hell in Coach Brianna's life. She not gonna know what hit her. Then she gonna be like, wait, did I really sign up for the right thing?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, yeah. So, and that was perfect because Coach Brianna is VIP for today. So we got to do some of that workshopping right there live. She's our demonstration for some of the work and how you could do some of these things for yourself. So, okay. Any other questions about the chakra portion of it and working with the chakras before we move on to doing our journey? And I'm going to talk about journey. We're not just going to drop into it. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing and what we're asking for. Okay, looks like no questions on chakra stuff now. All right, cool. Krista, you're the only person that I don't really know here. So are we good? You're following along all right?
I'm following. It's very informative so far. So I'm taking a little
cool.
notes and trying to figure some things out.
Cool. I know where
general, so I'm kind of excited about it.
All right, awesome, good. Okay, I like when that happens. So I'm just like making sure, because like I know all the rest of these guys. I know what I'm talking to in them. I've already even worked with their guides before, and I'm like, all right, but Krista, I'm not sure. So just make sure. Don't let me leave you behind. If you're lost, please let me know.
I won't. I'll let you know. I promise.
Okay. All right. So now we're gonna get into our journey. So in my classes, we actually learn about how to take a journey specifically to the chakras, how to work with chakras in a shamanic way, and how to connect with chakras even in the world. So in shamanism, there's upper world, middle world, and lower world, and our chakras correlate to those exact worlds. So if you know that, which I have two just newly graduates, yay, I got 2 graduates in here, and actually 3. I have 3 graduates in here right now. Yay. And so you guys can absolutely take a journey directly into your chakras. If you just want to just do it that way, you're more than welcome to do that. What I like to say to do though is to find a place in nature, in your mind's eye. Go to that place that you can recall with a lot of memory. Like you're just going there, like if you're looking at a memory, and until you are there with so many of your senses, pick a place that you can actually recall what it would sound like, what it would smell like, what all of the visualization looks like when you look around, what are all the images that you see, feel the wind on your skin, or what is the temperature out there right now, and bring in all of the senses as much as you can. And then as soon as you are there where it really feels like you're there, look for a tree. And then you go towards that tree, and that tree is going to be your representation of what we call the axis mundi. So that is the tree of life, the tree of the universe, the tree that is connected to all realms and all universes and the multiverse, however you want to call that. And you are able to travel through that tree to go to different places. So when you get to the tree, for those of you who don't normally go to shamanic journey, we're going to have a chaperone for you. Today's chaperone is deer. So when you get to the tree, if you're having a hard time getting to your next spot, look for a deer. Your deer is going to be your chaperone. It's going to show up to you. They showed me some of them are going to have antlers. Some of them are going to be like, females and without antlers, or the teenager ones, which I don't know what they're called. and so they're not fully grown yet, but so they're might be a little bit wobbly on their legs, but you're going to follow them and they're going to take you to the next place. You might go into all darkness, into a cave. The first chakra journey I ever took, I went into all darkness and I didn't know where I was. And it turned out that I was in my own chest cavity. I was inside of a cave that represented my heart space. And I had to do work on my heart chakra. And I also had to open up a blockage in my throat chakra to let all of the energy flow into my heart chakra. And that was represented by being in a cave that I had to climb to the top of the cave. And there was this hole in the top where I could get out. And there was all this mud packed in there. And I had to start digging and pulling all the mud through. And I let in all the water. And all the water just rushed and rushed and rushed in that area. I filled the area with lots of pink light for self-love. And I healed the energy in the area. And that was me actually healing my heart space and opening up my throat chakra. That's one example. You could get a complete metaphor like that. You could also meet with a guide. A spirit might show up, an ancestor, a relative that passed away, a goddess, a god, an animal might show up to talk to you. A star being, galactic, alien being, just let it go wherever it's going to go. And they can show up to you face to face and tell you, we're going to work on this particular chakra and here's why. They can also just work on the chakra and not tell you why. So don't feel discouraged if they don't give you a message at all, because that will happen. They'll just go right in, just be like, shh, we don't need you. Just lay down. We're going to go in your solar plexus. We're going to do all of this work, and just be confident that whatever they did opened up your chakra for wealth and abundance. Our intention, as I stated, we're going to want to have an intention. Our intention today is to take a journey to heal wealth and abundance in one of our chakras, whichever one is most important for you at this time. There might be more than one, as we talked about. It could be heart and solar plexus. It could be third eye and throat. It could be several of it. It could be all of them. If you've never done any chakra work, all of your chakras might need to be worked on. But we're just going to allow whatever work needs to be done for you today, the most important one to start with, to be revealed to you in this journey. Okay? If you've ever have you ever done a meditation and you're able to see lots of visions and stuff, then this will be really easy for you. You're just going to drop in a meditative state. You're going to listen to my drumming. The drumming is going to help to kind of put you into a trance-like state. So the sounds and the frequencies of my drumming is going to kind of carry you through the spirit realm to where you need to go. And you'll be able to see the visions just like you do in meditation. If you normally take meditation time and you don't see pictures, you usually just feel feelings, or you just sit with the silence, it might be a little bit more difficult for you to see things. But again, don't worry. That doesn't mean that the work isn't being done. You might feel things. You might see swirls of colors. You might just feel this rush of peace come over you all of a sudden. You might hear a voice talking you through, but you never see the visuals. The way that my intuitive teacher taught me was that we all have our strongest gifts when we first start off. So your strongest gift might be that you're a feeler. If you feel emotions really good, especially other people's emotions, you might feel your whole journey and you never actually see or hear anything. If your strongest is that you hear, if you hear your guides talking to you all day long, that's me, but big time, you know, they're like chipmunks all day long, chattering in my ear all day long. So I'm really, really good at hearing. I don't have to see, they can talk me through the entire thing. If you do see, which I do really easily, but not everybody does, and I don't always have to see. So if you're really good at seeing, you might see pictures the entire time and you don't hear the words, but you just know what's happening. It's like, okay, I first saw this and I saw that, and they're giving it to you maybe in metaphors even. I saw the color red and then I saw blossoming flowers. Oh, they're probably working in your root chakra, things like that, okay? So it's going to be kind of like going into a dream where we're not going to want to push it. We're not going to force it. We're going to allow it to flow wherever we want. I'm going to talk for the beginning of it, and I'm going to lead you to the tree. I'm going to lead you to your deer, and then I'm going to let it go from there. And I'm just going to be the drumming and not me talking anymore. And you're going to let it take you wherever it's going to take you. Okay. If you're hearing my voice, even started from the beginning, and you go somewhere completely different, don't fight it. I call that guide override. Your guides can override me, they trump me, they know better than I know. And if they yank you and take you far off into the clouds, just go wherever they take you. They know better and they're going to take you. Just know that the intention is there and they're going to work on your chakras in a way that's going to open up wealth and abundance for you for this 2023 year. Okay. All right. Any questions from there? Nope. Okay. All righty. You guys are an easy one. All right, let's get comfortable, get yourself ready. If anybody needs to take a potty break, raise your hand and I'll wait for you to come back. We're gonna get comfy. Yeah. I need to drink some water anyways.
Before we get started, can I tell you what happened to me before I jumped on?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So my birthday is Monday. And
happy early birthday.
Yeah, we do emissions here in Georgia. So we have to get our emissions done for the tags, for the registration for the car. So I went to go get my emissions done, right? So I'm like, okay, this shouldn't take long. I'm going to go down here, go get this done. And I'm going to go get my tag and I'm going to come back home. We'll stop and get something to eat and, that'll be it. So I pull into the parking lot and there was somebody that pulled in right in front of me and we pulled in the same way and we stopped in front of the building, but come to find out we were actually supposed to go behind the building to go through the little ports, to do the emission. And there was like a car length distance between myself and the young lady that was in front of me. She starts to back up and I'm in park. And she backs right into the front end of my car. So I'm like, okay. And I'm blowing the horn and, laying on the horn and she's still coming like full speed. So I'm like, okay. Luckily, it wasn't like a bunch of damage. It was like a crack to the bumper and, but still, it's just like, okay. Right. But she got out and I'm like, what are you doing? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, just apologetic. And I'm like, I'm looking at her. I'm like, she's really young. I said, how old are you? Yep. I think she was like 20, 22. Yeah. So she's like really young. I said, how long have you been driving? How long have you had your license? She's like 2 months. Yeah. Like, oh, so I had to go within myself and I actually didn't call the police or anything like that. It was just like, okay, we'll just let this go. And I mean, I got her insurance information, but I also talked to her dad and just so happened her uncle owns a collision shop.
Oh, that's good.
So, but I'm still like, do I even want to do that? Because it's just like, so I'm still having that internal conflict what we were just talking about.
Yeah, okay.
That, like letting her go. Should I even?
So I'm like, well, wait a minute. So even equal energy exchange here. You did a good thing. You settled her. You comforted her. She's a new driver and you didn't get mad. You talked to the to the dad and you did your part. What would be the negative in getting your bumper fixed by the family that since you're not doing anything, you're not pressing charge, you're not doing anything else. Why can't they also bumper? That seems to me like a good exchange there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're the one in the money wound, that the way that you call in money is that you give it away, right? You're like, give it back to you tenfold, let you get blessed tenfold, and then it ended up blessing you. That's your thing. Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds to me like the universe is trying to keep the same formula. You gave it away, and the universe tried to bring you some back. They try to say, okay, since you're not doing this thing and you're trying to just comfort her and you're working for her right now, universe blessed you back with getting your bumper fixed at their collision. I would take that. I wouldn't pay for it. Now, if you go there and they're saying, oh, well, we just told you that he has the place so that you could come here and pay for it to get done here. I would be like, well, wait, and if you don't feel like doing the bargaining part of it, you don't have to. I would tell you there that, I understand that if you might need to do some solar plexus work and you don't want to do that back and forth, well, I feel like you should at least pay this much and then I'll pay that much and all of that is not where you're at yet. I understand. But go and see if they're just planning on fixing it for free, because if that is a gift of receiving from the universe, you gotta work on receiving, girl. You gotta work on that.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Her dad was like, I'll pay for everything, because it's like they didn't want to go through the insurance. because she's
Yeah.
here staying with him, and I guess her mom is the owner of the car, and she
Yeah.
lives somewhere else, you know. So it's like, if I
But I-
report this to the
Take it.
insurance, she's gonna see it and she's gonna kill me, you know.
Yeah, and so you already know what would have been the proper way to handle it, but you
Mhm.
chose, and that was your choice. That was power of choice. You chose not to, and
Right.
you wanted to. You feel bad empathically. What I'm feeling like is empathically, you're feeling all their guilt, and you're trying to fix
Yeah.
their guilt, telling them you don't owe me anything, so that
Mhm.
you can calm their guilt. You were trying to workshop their guilt in the moment instead of thinking about your needs, which is your bumper that needs to be that needs attention at this
Right.
time. But you're ignoring your needs for their needs. And I could feel that. I
Mhm.
could feel that that's what you're doing. So it made you feel weird that they were like, oh, I'll pay for everything because what you feel at that moment is their guilt. And you're like, no, I don't want them to feel bad. And I don't want them to feel these things, not on my account, not for me, right?
Mhm.
But if your son called you up and all of that happened, you might tell your son, well, they're going to fix the bumper. Yeah, well, tell them, okay. Tell them that's a good trade. Tell them let them fix the bumper and you don't have to call the insurance. You know what I mean? Like you might have talked him through a different situation if it wasn't you.
Right.
So think about it that way. What advice would you give another person? Not us. Because like I just said, we'll tell our clients, take all the me days, take all the time for yourself. And then us, I had this little spot for 15 minutes on my calendar. Maybe I can squeeze in a session. Somebody can come and see me.
It's like to remove yourself from the equation and talk to yourself as if you're talking to a client.
Exactly. For you, you have done your well, I know that she's not old enough to drive, but you're still the protector of that soul piece that you receive back. Protect her and set boundaries for her. Receive for her. Do the balance for her. You got to be a good example for her. Right? So think about her. Think about her like she's another child. Like she's not you. She's someone else. And what would you want her to have? Isn't she worthy of receiving? She's worthy of receiving, right? She hasn't lived all the whole life you've lived yet. She's just a little innocent baby. So let her receive from the universe if you have a hard time receiving. Start that way.
Yeah. And then a part of that too, my youngest son was in the back seat and he was asleep. So when the impact hit, he jumped up screaming.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
see, I had something like that suddenly happen to me not that long ago. And I think my husband was really, really surprised that the girl offered me money on the spot to cash at me. And I thought about it and I said, okay. And he was like, well, no, we don't have to take her money. And I'm like, no, she doesn't want me to call insurance. She was young. She was relying on the sensor of her car. She thought the sensor would tell her if she was hitting something, and it didn't. And she was literally moving my car, trying to get into the space that was too small for her to do parallel parking. And when she hit the car, I turned around and I thought, oh my gosh, let me get out of the car. She's going to stop. But instead, she kept going. She's like lifting the car up because she's got an SUV and we had a sedan. I had to jump out the car. Stop. And she's like, oh my gosh. Was I touching the car? And I'm like taking pictures of it. Look, you're
she asked me the same thing. She was like, did I hit you?
Yeah. So
Yes,
she
you did.
She assumed that the sensor would have told her. And that's what she was relying on as a young driver. And so, I have my things about technology. Kids that can't read, the dials on the clock because they're used to digital clocks and things like that. Don't get me started. But I felt her.
I said, or like not being able to count change back without the register telling him it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Stuff like they're relying on all this technology. So I have my thoughts about that. But I did calm her. I did tell her like it's not that bad and so on and so forth. And then she told me the same thing. Like I think she's driving her dad's car and she was young and freaking out. And she was like, can I please just tell me how much you think this would cost? Can I please just cash up you like $100 right now? I only took 50, but I just, as a result, as a responsibility thing, I felt like something needed to happen, an exchange of something. The girl did something. She's trying not, I felt like we probably should have called because I felt like she's trying not to get caught. But if she wants to pay money as her penance or her exchange for that, then I let her. That was not me. That's not normally how I am. But that time I was like, you know what? Something, because she offered, and she shouldn't have offered if she couldn't do it. They offered to do your bumper, give them back their power. let them decide what is okay for them and what's not okay for them.
And they
So-
offered to pay me too, you know, and that's it. And that's kind of like where I am at this point too. It's like, you know, even with going through the repairs, I'm like, because that's going to have me down without my car, you know, even with the repairs. So it's just like, it's not, I feel like the damage is not that severe to the point to where I need to be without my car for days, you know, just to have them fix it. So
I think answering the question for yourself is really good. I think sitting down and really answering for yourself what you want to do, and even if you're not ready to do something that your mind says, I maybe should take this offer, but I don't, stopping and checking yourself and checking through all the things, and even realizing, you know what, I'm not there yet. I'm just not at a place where I want to deal with that. That at least lets your brain know that you are now the kind of person that's going to stop and ask yourself, what do I want to do? Not how to fix it for the other person, but stop and really ask yourself, what do I want to do? And that's a good way to start a good relationship of trust with your inner selves. Coach Julie, do you have something to add to that? I see you had you off mute.
Yeah, I do. And it's just kind of an observation, Brandy, because it's funny when you were saying that the belief that you felt challenged was the one of being selfish and that you want to share. But if we change perspectives on this for a moment and think, you don't know what seeds they might be planting. You don't know what prosperity they might be growing. And if you take away their opportunity to plant a seed or to have abundance come back, then they will plant that seed somewhere else. So you lose out. But if you think about it, is it not selfish then to take away that person's ability to plant that seed to have their harvest?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because I've actually said that to some of my clients. And, you know, as far as like the return, like you said, planting seeds, you know, that karmic return. So if you deny someone the right to bless you in any type of way, you're denying them their blessing as well as your own. So you're turning down your own, you know, and blocking theirs at the same time.
Yeah. And you don't know, you might not know what, if anything, you're taking from them by not allowing them to deposit. And the truth is, you know, when all of us are trying to manifest stuff, we will find a place to plant our seeds.
Yeah.
So then the other person too who gets hurt is just not letting you be the receiver of that.
We talked about that first class too, Brandy. Like that's ethics. That's what we talked about when we talked about karma, and we can't intervene when we do that. When we think that we're fixing things, that's ego. That's our ego that thinks that we're supposed to fix it in a way different than the flow of the universe. The universe wants balance, and so we don't know that, and that's something that's really, really hard for like empath, people pleasy kind of people to realize that people pleasing is actually ego. We don't think it is. We think it's selfless. But what Coach Julie just said is it's actually selfish, because we're fixing things for people and constantly trying to turn the road for them and open this door for them, and then they're not creating the skills that they need to open their doors for themselves. They're not gathering the karma that they could be gathering. They're not sowing the seeds that they could be sowing. They're not learning the lessons that they were put on this earth to learn, because we're constantly trying to like move the earth for other people. We have to allow them to go through, and that's what I was saying as far as the girl that I did, that I was like, you know what, she wants to pay me at least something, so she understands that there's a repercussion. Who knows, maybe by her sending that money, like Julie said, now she sowed some kind of karmic seed that she needed to sow, that's going to help her, you know, do her chain reaction down the line that she needed to do. You know what I'm saying? So I totally agree with that. Thank you, Coach Julie, and for tying that selfishness too, because that is a really good thing for us.
Yeah, because we think that we're not being selfish by letting them off the hook, but in reality, it is, because we're taking away their opportunity, if they even see it like an opportunity. So, you know, Brandy, for what it's worth, like I would have it fixed, and I would take the money, and I would say, thank you, Lord, for blessing me, and bless them too.
Yeah,
that's just me.
And
that's just my 2 cents.
And a part of that too is, now you think about what we're doing right now, and this is for wealth, you know, and being that this thing happened at this particular time where I know I'm not going to be able to work the same way that I would because the kids are out of school for the holiday. So it's cutting into my finances. So it was something that didn't cause enough damage to really put me out of commission, but something to be able to bring forward some type of money, you know, or, you know,
that's why when you said, can I tell you? That's why when you said, can I tell you what happened before you came to the event? I was like, yep, I want to hear it because I have a feeling it's going to have something to do with our topic today and our our workshop today. Because it happened on the way here. I just had a feeling. I was like, well, let's unpack it because it probably does. All right, we're gonna go over time if that's okay with you guys. I hope everybody's okay with going over a little bit because I want to hear shares afterwards. But we're gonna go ahead and get started and do our journey now, so that we don't go too much over time. So I forgot about our smudge. I'm gonna smudge this. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say really quick to also like take it out of that kind of like woo mentality of it. If you don't allow them that penance, they don't learn from their mistakes too, right? Especially when you're talking like the young drivers and stuff, like you want to let them learn by having to fix the problem that they caused so that they don't do it again, right? If you don't let them learn from it, there's no consequences for it, then it's like, well, it's not a big deal if I do it again, right? So anyway, that was,
and I talked to her about that too, and I stood out there for maybe like 20 minutes talking to her about that same thing. So just to kind of give her those words of wisdom, you know, being a young driver. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. Sorry, we got to get back on track here. All right. So this is what happens when you come to a workshop with like 7 coaches. So and I was like, I know I'm opening a can of worms, but I see you guys off mute. So I'm going to I want to hear what Coach Julie has to say. And I want to hear, I'm like, okay. But I know me and I know us and I know we're going to get off. And you're a practitioner too, Brandy. So I'm like, okay, we can have discussions forever. I know we can. And that's why I also have the meetups on top of these, because it's like, okay, we have workshops for workshops and then we have meetups for all the talking. So we can do our talking. So, all right. But I think that was a really good lesson to learn. And I knew it was going to be. I was like, tell me what happened, because it's going to be a lesson in here. I know it is. And we're all going to get something out of it. Okay. So, all right. Sending your roots down into the ground. We're imagining that you have actual roots coming down out of the bottom of your feet. Or if you're sitting down on the floor, coming out of the bottom of your tailbone, going down into the Mother Earth. Just sending those roots right on down in there. And at the same time, I want you to visualize also that you have a halo opening up. This is your crown chakra that's just opening up above your head, inviting divine white light to just come in through that halo, washing over all of your energy centers, sending down everything that we're releasing at this time down through those roots. And as you do that, I'm going to smudge us collectively, starting at the crown chakra. Clearing busy thoughts, opening up that connection to the divine, and now clearing third eye, opening the pathways to receive good visions and sixth sense sight. Okay, now throat chakra, opening our passageways for truth and self-expression. Heart chakra. Clearing away the blows for anything that has happened over the last month or so. Sometimes we have debris in there for grief, for things that bothered us, just clearing all of that out, opening up our heart space. Solar plexus, cleansing that out, opening big, bright golden ball of I am, opening that up for you. Sacral, clearing the way for fun, for receiving, for indulgence, for pleasure, all the things that need to be opened when it comes to money. And roots, clearing your pathways for stability and security, for home, for career, for feeling like you just have a place to feel grounded and call your own. Okay, we're sending everything down through these roots to the center core of the Mother Earth, just asking her to take away everything that we are ready to release at this time, all that is no longer beneficial to us, and all that was never ours to carry to begin with. Through these roots to your center core to be burned up in your magma, or as you see fit to use these things as fertilizer to grow beautiful things for our future. Amen. I say, aho. All right. I have sacred medicine space open for us, and that, let me just tell you, just because we have someone new here, that's when I speak to the spirits in all four directions, as well as below us and above us, asking them to be here with us, surrounding us and protecting us, as well as also guiding this journey. I put that around all of us so that we're protected in this moment, that no energy is allowed in this circle that does not have our permission, and that all things that are of the highest good for ourselves, as well as the good of the collective, are here, and they are invited to share in this moment and also to guide our way so we get good visions and good messages and healings today. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start the drumming. No, my drum doesn't like to be comfortable sometimes. All right. Taking a deep breath. Getting yourself nice and comfortable. Begin to see your place in nature. What do you hear? Is it birds chirping? The wind blowing through the leaves? Is there water? What do you smell? Is it snow? Is it pine sap? Take a couple of steps. Look around. There might be many trees, but one tree seems to stand out. It might be sparkly or illuminated. Some way it's calling to you, telling you to come closer. As soon as you make the decision to head that way, you find yourself getting closer and closer, quicker than you thought. Now, suddenly you're there. Taking in the beauty of this tree. It's like it's talking to you, whispering. Many voices, little fairies, maybe ghosts from the past. This tree has a wisdom, a spirit, a life. And as you're enjoying the interaction with the tree, you hear scurrying, little footsteps in the twigs and leaves. around and you see a deer. You lock eyes. Its dark eyes peering at you. Feels like it's trying to tell you something. You understand that it's telling you to follow him. It's taking you down a pathway. You're not sure where it leads, but you know it's to something important. And he takes you further into the distance. Wrapping your time up now. Thanking all who helped. Thanking your energetic body and all your chakras. Thanking the deer, your new friend. The deer tells you that you can call on him to do this exercise as many times as you need, and to finish maybe even what you started today. The deer might even give you one last message before you have to go. Now it's time to come back. All right. Come back when you can. If you have a journal with you, you can write down some messages that you received and what you saw today so that you won't forget. I'll give you some time to do that. If you're done or you don't need to journal, you can go ahead and share. I'll go ahead and start real quick though, because I do want to make sure that I get our VIPs. So we have 2 VIPs today. That was for Coach Brianna and for Esme. And Esme is not in present right now, but she is going to be watching the replay. I'm going to give her full shamanic journey message in private. If she was here, I would tell her. But I want to, oh, you also did. You also did VIP? Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. I did not know that. I'm so sorry. I will, then I will do your journey for you. You'll have to you'll have to get that one separate. I'll have to do that for you, one-on-one. Or I'll do it for you and then I'll tell you what it was. So I apologize about that. I didn't check that. I just was like, come in, because we had already started. And I was like, just send the money when you can, just get in here. and I didn't go to look to see which one that you chose. I'm so sorry. Okay. All right. So I brought into my actual, you sure did. I'm so sorry. I brought into my actual sacred garden though, Brianna and Esme, and they followed me along. So the deer came and there was 2 deer that showed up and there was all of these gold leaves everywhere. And even the walkway we were walking on was gold. Like it was made out of leaves, but it looked like the yellow brick road, but it was so golden, so yellow that it looked like it was like the ground itself was yellow, but it was covered in leaves. So we went through there and it was like this archway, and we went through and then we ended up going to my sacred garden. And in my sacred garden, you both had your own deer and they did separate things. So as I said, Coach Brianna, since you are here, I will go ahead and let you know what happened for you. Your deer had antlers and it scratched you up. It like just tore you apart. It was like basically she needs to have all of this energy just broken up. You just need to tear away all these things that are like laying on top of your skin that are keeping you and blocking you from going to that next level that you need and that you don't even know that you're deserving of and that you're ready to step into. So we need to do it for her. So he just used his antlers and he scratched you all up, and then your guides came and poured gold into every single stretch. So you were just this, like you had like all these like, jagged edges and, like marks all over you, but they were glowing with gold, liquid gold that they had poured all into you. And so they said that like you needed to know that all of these wounds and all of these things, you know, about you, they're actually golden. They actually themselves are your wealth. These are the things that you need. And so I asked what chakra was most important for you to work on right now. And they said root. And so they showed me your root, and they showed me at the base, you know, of you, and it was like a lotus, and it was floating and rotating and sending all this red light everywhere. And it was saying that your foundational beliefs, your foundation, what you were taught about what is security, what is stability, what does it mean to be stable, that is in question. And that's the thing that they needed to do a healing on. So they said a little healing in that lotus, but you might want to work on it a little more. Like I said, doing journaling, working with root, going and undoing your beliefs, asking yourself, what was I taught in childhood, even just by examples, not even just through words? What was I taught with stability, and how does that differ from what I really want my wealth story to be? So if you were taught that stability was being serious and staying still and doing this and doing that, but you're fun and free spirited and all over the place, then you would tell yourself, well, I'm not stable enough to be worthy of riches. If that makes sense. So what were you taught about stability and security? That foundation of wealth is the thing for you to work on. So that was the healing that we put in for you. And like I said, so I'll do a journey to myself, and I'll message to Brandy directly. But I do feel better that we worked on your issue that you came that you came with in, because then we got to workshop for you. So I was like, okay, so yeah, you did get some VIP workshop like we did give to Brandy, to Brianna. But I will do your journey, and I'll get that to you in direct message. Okay. I am going to go ahead and turn off recording now. Like I said, I will get that to Esme, and that way we can share without the recording on. So again, thank you guys who all are watching this replay for joining. Please share with me if you want to share your stories, what happened. If you want to share with everyone, you can share in the comments of this actual video, or if you just want to share directly with me, you can send me a direct message. I love to read about them. I love to hear what you got. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now.